Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to talk about the relation, basically how to find whether the two vectors have a right angle between them or not, and we call it orthogonality. And whether these two vectors have orthogonality between them or not, or whether these two vectors have right angle between them or not, we are going to find it here. So and how we'll see how we find it. What is the process? So basically, let's say we have two vectors, and this is the coordinate plane. This is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. And let's plot these two vectors here. And let's say 6 2 will be somewhere 1 2 3 4 5 6. 6 will be here, and 2 will be here. Y2 will be here, so it will be somewhere here. 6 2 will be here, so I'll join this. This will be 6 2. I'll write it like this, and then we have -1 and 3. So -1 would be, I'll just extend this line here. -1 would be this one, -1, and then we have 3, so it will be 3 would be here. That's positive 3, right? So -1 3 would be somewhere, I would say here. So this will be -3, -1 and 3, sorry. 6 2 and -1 and 3. So these two vectors will be here. Now how do we, and we can see it like we can have an idea that these two vectors have right angle between them, but how to find it through vectors only and without looking at the coordinate plane? So we'll just find the basically inner product of these two vectors. We learned inner product in the previous video. You can look at the video if you want to revise it, want to revisit it. So we'll find the inner product between these two vectors, and then if the inner product is 0 between these two vectors, then that means these two vectors have right angles between them. So let's say if you remember, I'll just take the transpose of v1 to find the inner product of the vectors. So it will be something, we'll be calculating it like this. It will go something like 6 into -1 plus 2 into 3, right? Then it will go something like -6, and that's 6 again. This is -6 and 6, and this is equal to 0. That means these two vectors have a 90-degree angle between them, and which we can see in the coordinate plane as well. So this angle is 90 degree. So this is how we find out the orthogonality between the two vectors, by finding the inner product of these two vectors. And if the inner product is 0, then that means the these two vectors have a 90-degree angle between them. Now let's I'll also take revisit one more concept here, and that will be the concept of slope. If you remember, if we have to find the slope or between two slope of a vector, how do we find? We find it, for example, this is 0 0. So if this is 0 0, for example, say 0 comma 0. So if we have to find the slope between these two bit of this vector, basically, so the formula was, I'll probably write the formula here, y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. So here it would be 2 minus 0 and 6 minus 0, which will be 1 by 3, right? And if I do the same calculation here, it will be okay. So that's how we basically we can also relate this concept to the calculation of slope between the vectors. So if you remember, we had this uh, slope calculation which was based on the y minus y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1 concept. Correct. So that's it for this video, and thank you.